Hey guys, what's going on? I am here, it's Alex from Fitment Industries, and I am with
Gels.
And we are here to talk to you about the top aftermarket trends of 2019. So 10 months ago, we did one of these. We talked about like what was hot, what we thought was gonna be hot, what's not hot, and like we're gonna reminisce back first and talk about what we were right about and what we were wrong about. And I have my cheat sheet down here because there was a lot of stuff that we did talk about. You remember? We talked about trends, we talked about mesh styles, we talked about bright colors, vehicle wraps, we talked about a lot of that being super popular, we talked about rotary forged being super popular, and for the most part, I think we were pretty spot on.
Pretty close, I think.
I mean, it was Andy Man back then, but now we've got you, Gels. So let's see what we were right about. So we were right about a couple things. We were right about bronze colors. We were pretty right okay about battle arrow still being a thing, but we were wrong about a lot of stuff too. Yeah, we were wrong about vehicle wraps. We thought that they were going to take over the world.
Yeah, not as big as we thought they were going to be, definitely. I think a lot of people kind of have gone the paint route just for the quality of...
Yeah.
You know.
We thought, I mean, there's still some bright and loud vehicle wraps, but definitely not as common as air suspension. Air suspension was something that we knew it was going to take off.
Definitely.
Airleft offered a 3S system, AccuAir offered the CVT, and now people are really starting to run that, which is super cool. I thought the riveted over fenders were going to start passing, and guess what, boys? I was right. It was like I was envisioning the future. There is not as much riveted over fenders as there was a year or 2 years ago. People are going to molded. Thoughts?
Definitely.
Do you like molded?
I do like the molded on certain vehicles though. Like sometimes when you see a molded body kit, it just kind of looks blobbish.
Yeah.
Like it almost needs that separation in the body panels, especially when it is like something that's super wide.
Yeah.
Because it just looks awkward.
Another thing we said was to not sleep on some of like the entry-level wheel companies. We talked about how ESR was coming out with rotary forged multi-piece, and that was back when they were just talking about it. Now they're full-fledged doing it, and it seems to be working out very well. They're styling out some of their ES line, or SR line, which is some of their wheels that look like other wheels. We have to be careful with what we say. Lawyers get mad, okay? Don't judge us. And then I think we also talked about like retro designs, and retro designs are still very popular. So we were pretty close.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe, fitmentindustries.com for wheels, tires, suspension. There's the plug. Let's start off. Number one, what do you think is going to be a hot trend for 2019?
Starting off, what I've seen a lot of lately, just like scrolling through the Explore tab on Instagram, and we even seen it with Rotorform coming out with the AERO discs.
Yeah.
Turbofans.
You think so?
I think turbofans and a lot of that like old school Euro styling is going to be coming back this year.
I think that people are always trying to push the mold with wheels, but they're pushing it in a different way. So like a year ago, I would have told you multi-piece is the hot stuff. And I still think that multi-piece wheels are still a very common thing, but not in the same way. Like I feel like you are seeing more multi-piece wheels with hidden hardware. You're seeing more multi-piece wheels that almost look like a forged two-piece. You're seeing forged two-piece getting more common. You have new wheel companies offering that versus the straight multi-piece. And even like I enjoy half and half hardware versus fully exposed hardware.
Definitely.
So I think you're definitely gonna see that become more of a trend where people want the multi-piece, but they don't want it to be as loud, if that makes sense. They're going with more, and the same thing goes with colors. So like bronze and red, you know, the brushing is super popular even when we look at the wall, but bright colors actually aren't as hot in the multi-piece wheels as we expected. I think you're gonna see more like double dark tint, like the gunmetal, the
brushed finishes.
Yes, brushed finishes with like colored hardware. So your bright hardware would be what you'd actually have your color palette for. Now, people are still doing bright stuff, but for the most part, from what we see coming out of Fitment Industries, people are doing a lot more of like conservative face colors and then doing bright hardware.
With like a subtle contrast to it.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? What else do we got? We said more unconventional vehicles being modified.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
We saw a Jaguar XK on drop stars. I've seen Toyota Priuses on air with rotiform wheels. I've seen some pretty unconventional vehicles getting modified these days.
And quite heavily.
Yeah, why?
I think it's just because we've kind of fallen back into that trend of just kind of, I don't want to say like copying everybody else, but we just like kind of fallen into the trend with like the newer vehicles and everything. Like everyone wants like a newer car and drop it low on some big wheels.
Yep.
So I think kind of you see like a Volvo wagon that's like crazy built. That's like totally different from everything else that's at like a car show or something like that. So I think just that it's another thing to stand out again.
Yeah, I think people are getting more comfortable with modifying things that aren't the conventional, which is cool because I think, I mean, no offense, but I truly believe that the car community right now is at an all-time high. And a lot of people always think like the car community is like in the down and out, or like it's super bad right now, and it's not. I mean, even if you look, even on, in our state, based on what I've seen in Midwest and nationally, the car community is doing very, very well. There's a million different wheel companies that offer a million different styles. There's genres and groups and communities for pretty much any type of car. It used to be all about the Subaru, all about the FRS, all about the BRZ, all about the 350s and the Nissans and things like that. But now, with Chevy Camaros and like Mustangs getting more popular, you're seeing like VOSSEN, Air, Camaros. Like you're seeing these cars that you would not expect, and they're not as expensive as you think.
Right. And I think a lot of that ties into as well is that usually when you wanted to modify a car like that, like say like a Mustang, like say like a couple years ago, could you really find an air kit for like a Mustang?
No.
Now I think a lot of brands have started to like recognize that a lot of people are doing like unconventional builds and making it easier with like universal air stuff, and just those not one-off parts anymore. They're actually like part of their line.
Yeah, and one of the most popular cars on air right now in our gallery is actually the Ford Mustang, the 2015 Ford Mustang. So we are seeing a shift of what people want out of a car, and I think people like the power and the stuff that the Mustang brings from like as a platform, and then since it has such a long nose, when it's on the ground, I mean, it just looks aggressive and mean and perfect. So that's pretty cool to see. I think another thing that we said was, we saw all these bright colors and things like that, but when we were at SEMA and when we've gone to the car shows, especially this past year, is we've almost seen more minimalistic styling, but keeping the aggressiveness of like battle aero and things like that. So you see people, I mean, probably one of the most popular colors in our gallery right now is a white car with carbon fiber and double dark tint wheels. Like that is the color combo right now. You don't see white and red, you don't see white and bronze, you don't see two-tone fender flares anymore.
Right.
Everything is sleeking out and going towards more of like a minimalistic, and I dig it. I think it looks more proper.
Yeah, for sure. And to go along with it, like we were talking about like the big battle aero from like last year and everything like that. From what I've seen going on, like a lot of people are still doing like the aero, like the aggressive aero. But what I think is gonna really be or become a thing is like having those big wings still, but instead of being 4 feet up in the air, they're almost like trunk mounted. Like they sit very subtle to the trunk, and then they have massive end plates on them. Like you look like, I think Crispy WRX has that kind of wing on his car. I think that's starting to seep into, I've seen FRSs with that kind of wing, I've seen other Subarus with that kind of wing now.
Yeah, almost
and they're
going
starting to pop up.
smaller, where it's like it's like the aggressiveness is more subtle, I guess. Where it's like it went loud, but now they're reining it back in so that it looks like almost like it was done more on purpose.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because anytime somebody ever does anything to their car, the more obnoxious you do it, the more attention you get, the more attention you get, the more criticism the whole idea gets, and then people dial it back to something that requires more work. And that's why a lot of people, I think, dig, static, and people love the static look because it's harder to achieve and things like that. So I think dialing in your aero is harder to do, and if you have something that looks like it's actually more properly dialed in, you get more more of the cred. Do kids say that? Perhaps you could say it. He's nodding his head no. This is what getting old must really, really, really be like. It's unfortunate. Going into wheels, which is something that I would say we're pretty darn good at, we would say brushing is the future, forever. It's never going away. Painted wheels, if they're not brushed, are not looking that hot. We've noticed that Cosmos, Rohana, companies that do have brushing in their color have had massive success. So if you're out there and you're a wheel brand and you're watching this and you're trying to get what the community wants, brushing is, you have to offer brushing. Yeah. And something that you can paint over the brushing and still see it.
Still get that texture, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that only Forged Multi-Piece used to do, but at the same time, there's only certain factories overseas that will do hand brushing because it's more work. So you guys might be wondering who can offer brushing and who can't. Just look at the wheels and you'll be able to tell who can and can't. But that's something that we do see. What do you think we're not gonna see? One thing that I have is I definitely think that roof boxes are not gonna make it.
Yeah.
Rest in pieces.
I've kind of, even at the end of like this year, they've been kind of fading away. Yeah. Like I know like the roof racks and those boxes like a couple years ago, were like the huge thing. Like just see how much shit you can pile on top of your car and go to a car show. Yeah.
I don't think that's happening anymore. I also see rotary forged wheels becoming standard, not no longer being like an upsell.
Right.
Like I really do believe you're gonna see rotary forged wheels just become what they have to be to still be competitive. There are wheels that weigh like 30 pounds and things like that that just not cutting the cake anymore. I just don't think that those are gonna last much longer. If you're a wheel company out there, just letting you know. Unless it's like a $400 set of wheels, but then again, rotary forging, those factories that do it, I mean, it gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper every year because more and more factories are buying the technology to do so. In case you guys are wondering, it really all comes down to what do the factories offer these wheel manufacturers and how much it increases their pricing. But then you have companies and factories in China or Taiwan or overseas that are competing at that same price point. So the more they compete, the more tech you get in your wheels here in the United States. Right. I mean, that's just how it is. I have a question.
Okay.
Do you think splitter rod supports are going to end or no?
It's a good possibility. Like at least visible splitter rod ends.
Like the support, we're talking about the support rod.
Right, yeah, like the silver things coming out, the splitter that go into the
because
bumper.
Nobody installs them correctly.
No, first they screw them into the bumper. You're not supposed to.
They screw them into the bumper and they're just like, this is how, and then they tighten it all the way down so then the splitter is like this, and or the diffuser or the front end plate or whatever the hell you want to call it depending on the pieces like this, and it's like.
If you are like worried about the support of it, I know like looking at like parts for the FRS and stuff like that, companies have started to develop, it's not just like it doesn't just go around the bumper anymore, it actually mounts to the FRSs have like a skid plate or like a dust plate underneath that covers like the bottom side of the engine. It actually mounts, it sandwiches between that. So I mean, it goes back pretty far and it's got a lot of mounting points. So like you don't even necessarily, they have that splitter rod end as an additional option. You don't even need it.
Sure. I think the last thing that I would probably say that I'm gonna see in the current steam of 2019 wheels, tires, and suspension is I think you're gonna see people probably get more accepting, and I'm just speaking on behalf of a greater whole, I think you're gonna see people get more accepting of a little bit of camber. Like a little bit. Yep. I'm not talking a lot, I'm just talking like a little bit. Just a little bit, like 2-ish to 3-ish degrees. I think you're gonna start becoming more accepting just because people are trying to get a more unique fitment setup so that they stand out from the crowd. And I think you're gonna see people start to do it with more aggressive offsets with stock bodies. Yep. I think you're gonna see people get air and really try to dial it in perfectly to make it look static, but you can't unless you start running into some like camber plates and things like that. So I think you'll see that becoming more accepting. Maybe more common. What do you guys think is gonna be the hottest trends for 2019? Or what do you think is gonna die? Or what do you think you want to die? That's such an aggressive statement.
Just
like, what do you want to kill with fire? What do you not want to kill with fire? What do you want to grow with some like miracle grow? Let us know in the comment section below. And then if you're looking for wheel tire suspension,
fitmentindustries.com.
And don't forget to
subscribe.
We'll see you later.
I'm Gels.
I'm Alex. Peace.